Oh, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Marcus Washington. We're on the mark where we talk everything Falcons football. And welcome to the pre-cook, man. A couple days have passed since we lost to the Steelers in our home opener. I'm a little bit past it now. Still a little salty how things transpired, but we have to move on. So not really going to be on here too long, man. There's about 3 videos that I do want to share, and we'll go over it. Watching the game again from just a calm perspective. Some things on offense have to change. Watt was pretty much unstoppable for about 3 quarters. And there were really no adjustments made there. They tried to put Pitts over there. That didn't work. There were a couple adjustments I feel they could have made to stop that. The 3 turnovers didn't do us any help. First one was a pick. Second one was a fumble, timing issue. Looking back at it, that could come from, hey, these guys haven't played. The final pick, going back looking at it again, had Kurt had a little more time to put some air on that ball, who knows what that might have been. But guy got back there again, clipped him at the last second, and the rest is history. So, but that offense still looked terrible. There has been some talk about whether Kurt is 100% healthy or not. I said one of the games I was going to pay attention to was the Jets game to see how Aaron Rodgers moved, because he's pretty much coming off of the same injury, pretty much. They had Aaron under center. So maybe this was just a strategic thing. I don't know. For Zach Robinson's first game calling offense, awful. It wasn't really that good. I give it a C-. So can things be changed in a week? Of course. Kirk Cousins didn't have a great game. When you look at the targets, they got to be spread out. You cannot have an effective offense when Mooney's a non-factor, Drake London's a non-factor, and to a certain extent, Kyle Pitts is a non-factor, and Tyler Algier is a non-factor. My guy, that's your whole offense right there, pretty much. So what we're going to do, man, we're going to jump into this first clip. Let me see if I can just pull it up. Now I got to do it this way. All right. So all right, let's go to what Heem had to say. All right. Turn my music down. And it should be coming up here shortly. Hold on, let me speed this up a little bit. Okay.
Go ahead, Led.
Yeah, Coach. Do you know what happened on the motion fumble play there? Looked like that kind of
basically timing. We got to get that right. Got the play calling a little bit late. We're trying to rush a couple things, and it's a timing thing that can't happen. Those things can happen in the National Football League, and we did that. They got that ball. They fumbled the snap twice. We're not able to get either one of those, and that's the biggest difference. It just goes back to the turnovers. We got to get that right, and that can't happen.
And then just as a follow-up, the approach in the exhibition season did not translate into, real live football here today.
I'm not really concerned with that. I think that is exhibition is about mitigating injuries. So we wouldn't have played nothing but 10 snaps anyway if we did play, and we did not. So I don't even value that as much as you do. I know you may have an opportunity to think that way, but you got to go out there and execute when you get your opportunities to play in this league, and that's what's got to happen.
Obviously, it didn't look like you wanted it to offensively. How much of that at first blush would you credit to y'all, and how much of that would you credit to just you couldn't block them?
You never want to take credit away from.
Hold on, let me get to these chats real quick, man. My bad, y'all. A few of y'all are in here today, tonight. What's going on, Keonis? He says, "What's up, brother? I didn't calm down from Sunday. Let's go." That's what's up. What's happening, Scooter? What's going on, Wallace? He says, "What's good with you, country? What's happening? I've been good, man. How you been?" Christy just sent me the heart emoji. Hey, how you doing, Christy? How you doing over there? Darius says, "What's up? What's happening, man?" Wallace says, "Yes, I don't know what they're trying to do because they didn't make no adjustments in the second half to offset what the Steelers were doing on defense." That's correct. Jonathan, what's happening? He says, "Yo, what up? What's going on, everybody in the chat, man? Appreciate y'all being in here." All right, let's continue.
Your opponent, and they did a great job in doing what they can do, but we got to go out and we got to have the ability to execute against anybody. We got to be able to execute the plays that we want to execute. When you play a team like this, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the defense they have, it's going to be a dirty game, but we had our opportunities. We got the ball back with a chance to go score. We made a couple big stops in the red zone, got a couple opportunities to go down there and make this thing and take the lead. We came out into the half with 10-9 lead, and we got to maintain that thing, find a way to get down the field, have some drives, put them together like we did the first time out. When we took the possession of the game and be able to do some of those things we was not able to do in the second half.
One thing that I had a issue with, I didn't bring this up Sunday because I was on full tilt, but I am going to bring it up now. What's happening, Mike? April, what's going on? She says, "What's up, Mark? Our next game is a must win." It definitely is. Jonathan says, "We're about to get right Monday for sure. Let's rise up for our team." Yes, sir. Anthony says, "What up, Mark? Interested to see how they rebound next Monday." I am too. One of the big things that we did is we won the toss and we chose to take the ball. Usually you choose to defer if you know what your offense, unless you know what your offense is. Kansas City choosing to take the ball, that makes sense. You got Patrick Mahomes, you have Travis Kelce. You have Pacheco. They played last year. There's chemistry there. We don't know what kind of chemistry we had on offense, but we chose to accept the ball. And I'm like, okay, in hindsight, that's a bad call on the head coach. You've never seen your starters in live fire before. So I would have deferred. However, it's neither here nor there. Hopefully the next time we win the toss, he'll damn defer going into the second half of the game.
Without having the benefit of being able to look at it again on the tape, can you tell why you couldn't?
Those guys make plays. We turned the ball over in the second half, hitting people in the face and doing some of the things of that nature, and you can't do that. We got to play better all across the board. There's some of the blocking, some of the protection, being comfortable, all those things come into play. So we'll go back and look at it and find out and get to the root of it and practice and go through our process.
Looking at it live, it looked like when y'all did try to pass, the pocket was closing pretty fast. Did that limit some of the things that y'all wanted to do to attack them on offense?
Yeah, they limit that when you line up against these guys. That's kind of the team they are. TJ Watt is that kind of guy, right? He's always going to go out there and cause those kind of problems. You got to give him more credit, just being who he is. Like he had 2 sacks today. He jumped off sides early and got one that looked a little scary, but he was way off sides, jumped off pretty clear. But you got to go out there and maintain him. Can't let him wreck the game. And he was able to wreck it by getting that fumble recovery and also getting a couple key sacks there to give him 2 to get those things going.
Now, another thing I would like Kirk to do going into Monday, seeing how TJ was almost able to dictate the count. Um, and that's how he was breaking loose so fast. You got to start hitting these guys with the hard count more often. Cause he was coming, you know, mix it up, hit him with the hard count, force him to be honest at the line. I just think a lot of things from week one were this felt like a preseason game on offense. Honestly, like they were just getting things like figured out. They were just figuring things out like a preseason game. The defense was ready to play, but the offense, it was like they got Kurt in the pistol, they got him in the shotgun. Like they're not sure where he's at health. This seemed like a preseason game on offense, and it cost us this game because we should have wiped the floor with Pittsburgh. We should have. We can talk about how good their defense is. Their offense wasn't good at all. It wasn't. They had six field goals. They would have lost with 3 touchdowns. But 10 points is not going to get it.
Coach, the defense was impressive today, not allowing touchdowns and holding the offense to 6 field goals. What are your thoughts on their performance for the day?
You can't just necessarily go off of what happened with the results. We got to stop those guys on earlier downs in the run game. They had some success running the football on us, but I was really proud of those guys and what they were able to do with their resiliency in the red zone and within after those turnovers. You got to give guys those type of credit. With it being one game, we got to find ways to get the ball back ourselves, right? We got to find ways to force turnovers to give our guys a short field to be able to go out there and score, and we were not able to do that today. But I was very proud of how they stood up and showed mental toughness and real grit down the stretch.
Curious kind of where you think this team goes from here, considering that you don't get off in the start that you want. So what's the messaging going into a big week and with a Monday Night Football game coming up?
Tori, all these things are the same. They're all learning episodes. They're all learning opportunities. Whether you win, whether you lose, they're all the same for us coaches, right? You got to learn from wins. You got to learn from losses. And we will certainly learn from this loss.
Raheem, Drake and Kyle only combined for 5 catches and 41 yards. Did you sense frustration from them during the game? And just in general, were you surprised at the lack of offensive production, especially in that second half?
Of course, you're going to sense frustration from really competitive people wanting to get the ball in their hand and make a difference. So, I don't look at that as a negative. I look at that as competitors wanting to go out there and help their football team win any way they can, Kyle was able to get the touchdown. We didn't get the ball to Drake enough. But, hey, you want to get the ball to Bijan more. You want to be able to run the football a lot. You got to maintain possessions. You got to keep some possessions. You can't turn the football over. And when you do that, you limit the chance to get your playmakers the ball. And all those things hurt you. So that's always going to hurt your production with turnovers.
Raheem, it's only week one. How do you evaluate Kirk Cousins getting into this offense, how he played, but also knowing what needs to be done in the next week because you do have the Eagles and Chiefs for Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football?
You better look at them once at a time. We got the Eagles, and we better worry about that on Monday Night Football. We got the extra time to go out there and prepare. We got the extra time to go look at it. And for Kurt, he knows he has to play it. We know he has to play better. There's no doubt about that. And I look forward to doing that. He's played in the league for a long time. And I look forward to bouncing back from a rough game and a rough outing. I'm not overly concerned with that.
Yeah, Coach. How did you all handle the quarterback confusion with Fields and Wilson? And when did y'all all kind of, figure, that it was all go for Fields?
Yeah, we figured it out when you figured it out. When they let it know, they announced it at the time they have to announce it. And for us, it's preparation for both of them. I think our defensive guys did a nice job of preparing for him. And really, when you're talking about Fields, you just talk about incorporating more of the quarterback running scheme. He was able to punch it out on that last one and really continue that 4-minute drive going at the end with a nice quarterback run driving his legs. But other than that, I thought we did a nice job. I believe he hit one sneak. We stopped one sneak. I think we did a nice job on some of the zone read things, keep him out of pocket. He did a nice job of getting to the edge in the perimeter and the keeper game, which they both do really well. But, it's football, man. You got to be ready for everybody every single week, and that'll never change.
Kirk,
That's good talk. They got outcoached. Raheem got outcoached. His first game, he got outcoached. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I knew that when they announced that Justin Fields was going to be the starter, it was going to be a little harder. then Russell Wilson, because Justin Fields can run. Russell Wilson can scramble. He can't necessarily run anymore. Justin can run. So even with that being said, he got outcoached. Your line was getting buried by one guy. No adjustments made, really. You know your offense is sputtering. No adjustments for it. And you got beat by 6 field goals. You got outcoached, bro. Don't get outcoached Monday.
Never looked very comfortable in the pocket. Did you sense that was some rust from having been off, some worry about the injury, just the fact that they were getting home so much?
You know, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're good defense. You know, you got TJ Watt out there, and you got Highsmith out there. You got a bunch of good cover guys. You got a bunch of good guys across the board. Maybe he didn't get comfortable. Those are things you have to evaluate when you look at the tape. But, you know, we got to get comfortable. We better do it with an urgent manner.
If maybe this is the wrong word, but how surprised were you by this offensive performance?
Surprise. You can't be surprised in the National Football League. I've seen so much and been around so much where you don't have good days. But you better take them all as learning experience and be able to go out there and learn from them. And we got to go out there and figure out a way to fix that quickly and, urgently.
Following up on that, there's plenty that you have to build on, or to work on. But what did you see out of the offense that you can build on? What positives were there?
You know, that first drive was exactly what you wanted. It was efficient. We were executing. We went out there. We were able to run the ball effectively. We got a couple passes off effectively. We got down there, wasn't able to finish it off with the touchdown. We got 3. We got it right at the end there, got the 7 points to Cal, got some effective passes, moved the ball down the field, threw a touchdown. And then when we came out the second half, I was expecting and hoping to build on that. And we lost a little bit of our edge and our things of that nature to get it done. A couple penalties hurt us with the holding on one from the backed up situation. Bijan had a couple really good runs. He was able to be executed on some screens. He's a guy, and I was really pleased with the way he played the game, just with the mental toughness and the ability to go out there and continue to try to make us win and putting us in a winning position, although we were not able to come out with it.
To follow up on that, if my math is correct, I believe that Bijan touched the ball on over 60% of all offensive plays for you guys today. Do you like that number? Would you like it to be a bit more balanced and throughout with the rest of the guys, or is Bijan that type of talent that you're like over 60% sounds good?
Tori, I like winning, and that wasn't the result we got today. So we got to go back to the lab and figure out a way to win. And whatever that is, we'll do.
Yeah, Coach.
I said this Sunday, and I'll reiterate it. You go in and you play Philly, we need to see Tyler Algier. We need to see him. You know, Tyler was averaging 6.5 yards a carry Sunday. Now, I like Bijan. I've dubbed him Chocolate McCaffrey. That is a special type of player. But you can't forget the other guys on the field. Tyler Algier had 1,000 yards before Bijan even got here. Use your weapons. And I've stated in Monday, I want to see them both in the backfield at the same time. This would help Kirk Cousins. This is not family. Listen, I'm just a guy on YouTube. But I will tell you this. It ain't hard calling plays for this offense. I kid you not, it's not. We got outcoached. One guy had a good game. That was Bijan. You can't forget about Mooney. I mean, Ray had a pretty decent game too. But you can't forget about Mooney, who's the speedster. You can't forget about Drake London. You can't forget Kyle Pitts is your X factor. Let's just call this what it is. The offense did not execute. They didn't do a good job. For him to dodge the surprise question, I think everybody in Atlanta was surprised this offense came out here like that. This can't happen again. This can't happen Monday. It can't. Put Tyler Algier in there. Let him bang that line and then use Christian. Man, listen. I watched the game last night with the 49ers and the Jets. They were without McCaffrey. Dude, the 49ers look head and shoulders like the best team in the NFC. They use all their weapons. Debo got in. Ayuk got in. Kittle got in. They use all their weapons. Drake London cannot have 15 yards. Use your damn weapons. 60% would be okay if you're using everybody, but you're not. This is week 1. Y'all need to get this shit adjusted ASAP.
Coach, what's your sense of how Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon played today?
Very hard to judge those guys. I did see the big plays that we all clearly saw. Justin Simmons making a big knockdown pass, I believe, in a third down. I believe Matthew Judon was a part of a sack with not having the whole sack later in that second half and how he was able to play. I watched him set a couple edges, play really well, do a couple really good things. There's a bunch of positive aspects. Obviously as the coach, that's what we see. Obviously as the media is what we see is the negative portion of whatever we're going to look at. But we'll go back and we'll correct those things. But you can't ride the emotional roller coaster, whether you want to be positive about Judon or positive about Justin. We got to have reality checks for ourselves and be able to go out there and correct it.
We've been talking a lot about the offense, but going back to the defense, specifically Grady Jarrett, he had a sack and a half today. What was it like seeing him out there again?
Watching him bounce back with excellence, what you expect, is something that you always really enjoy. Probably some of the few times today you're able to show emotion when a guy like that, who's bigger than just the game of football for us in our community, makes a play coming off the injury and the significance of his injury that he came back from last year, and being able to see his mother and his family out there today really support him is always something that you're always going to look back and smile at, no matter what the outcome is, because of that guy and that human.
Anything else, Coach? All right, thank you.
All right. So that was Raheem. You can tell by his body language, he was not his energetic self, as he shouldn't have been. Smart Ride says Drake can't get open fast enough. Here's the thing. I don't even think it's the fact that Drake can't get open. They need to have Drake in motion. See, this is about getting your playmakers the ball. If as a coordinator you don't think he can get open fast enough, put him in motion. Cooper Kupp is not the fastest receiver in the league, but he constantly gets open. Look how often they put him in motion. Travis Kelce, same deal. He's not the fastest tight end, fam. They put him in motion. You gotta find some way to get your guys the ball. You can't just line Drake London up to the left, say, hey, listen, try to beat your guy. If you feel like he's not fast enough or he can't get open, you have to design plays for him. And Zach should know, but I would have Drake in motion. I'm watching the Rams and the Lions. They could not stop Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was in motion damn near 80% of the time. Especially when Puka went out. When Puka went out, Stafford said, hey, listen, we're moving you in motion. They could not stop that guy. Let's see. Let me go up. Wallace says, yes, as Falcons fans, we were all surprised of the lackluster performance the offense put out. Yeah, nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw 10. Nobody saw 10. And it isn't even about the turnovers, because you had, every quarterback was turning the ball over Sunday. Patrick Mahomes had a pick Thursday. Lamar turned over the ball. Stafford turned over the ball. Jared Goff turned over the ball. That was kind of like ordinary week 1. But that offense was not moving. And then when they did move, turnover. Sportsmark says if the offense struggles to score against the bad and injured Eagles secondary, they will be in trouble. This is a bounce back game, man. I don't see Kirk being this bad back to back. Especially when he gets stronger as the season goes on. I think, we might see a angry Kirk come Monday. He knows he played like ass. He knows he did. You can't you cannot have that type of play again. You simply can't. But he got out coached. Zach got out coached. Josh says about to waste 2 more years with Kurt, but I don't think so, fam. I think hopefully this is not a situation like it was last year in Minnesota, where they dropped their first 4 games. And then they started to go on a tear. Hopefully it's not like this. Hopefully we can get one of the next 2 games. I'd prefer both. But I think Kirk is going to settle into this offense. But they got to get him under center. They have to. They have to. You have to have play action. You're not fooling anybody in the shotgun the majority of the time, unless you're Lamar Jackson. There's only a few quarterbacks that can get away with that. He's one of them. But even they had his ass under center. You got to have your quarterback under center, man. Millie says Judon finna be fun as hell to watch this year, bro, unless he starts bitching to get out. Yeah, man, listen, defense is probably going to get a lot better. Man, the team's going to get a lot better. It's just nobody expected this Sunday. Monday, man, it might be a different story Monday night. They might come out and start firing on all cylinders. And then we back on here talking Super Bowl. We back on here talking about NFC Championship game. I'm still off the porch, fam. My thought process is it can't get no worse than what we saw Sunday. It just can't. If it is, we in for a long season. We in for a long one, dog. But listen, man, I think we'll be better. We'll be better Monday, man. Again, a guy like Kirk, they got pride. But I would like to see Drake in motion a lot more. I would like to see both Tyler Algier and Bijan in the game at the same time. We saw a lot of that in 2016 with Coleman and Freeman. And that offense couldn't be stopped. You got the weapons to put up points. So I think that's what people are just absolutely disgusted by. You got the weapons, you put up 10. What the hell was that about? But moving on, man. Let me pull this up. We're going to go here, man, to one of the Falcon greats, the alumni. Hold on for a second. I remember this man had no hair. Now your boy out here looking like somebody's sugar daddy, man. But let's get to it.
John Abraham, who's also going to be contributing a lot with us this Falcon season. And Abe, you watched the entire game with me. The biggest thing for the Falcons, the biggest issue was those turnovers. 3 of them, could have been more. How can they clean that up heading into Monday Night Football?
Like I said, first of all, I just want to congratulate Raheem Morris on just having this job, his first game as a head coach, and first of all, being accountable for what they did wrong.
Yeah.
And there was the turnovers. We watched the game and, just TJ Watt. And think about it, 2 penalties would have been 5 turnovers.
Mhm.
So it's a big difference between, winning and losing when you have 3 turnovers. Was it a good game? It definitely was an Arthur Smith game. It's like he came back and resurrected on both sides of the ball. I mean, it was actually fun to watch for me because I'm a defensive player. But if you're an offensive guy, you probably was bored as I don't know what watching this game. But the game was definitely pinpointed on turnovers for our side.
So for the Steelers, they only had 6 field goals and no touchdowns, yet they were still able to win the game. Yet the whole game, you're telling me the Falcons defense doesn't look that bad. What was your biggest takeaway from them defensively?
Defensively, for me personally, when Grady Jarrett came out of the game, I saw a big difference in the running game. They were able to run the ball down our throat. And also, the aggression wasn't there like I thought it was going to be. And like I said, we just got Matt Judon, and we had him dropping in coverage. I don't think that's the best thing for a guy with 6.5 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
When it's 3rd and long, you want to have that guy in the backfield more and not backing up.
And I think that he in the locker room, too, said that there are good things that they did that they can build upon, but obviously no one happy for what happened.
Now, y'all remember a couple years ago, we had Dan Quinn. We had the same issue. He was dropping guys back in coverage that were supposed to be rushing. My rule of thumb is a defense should always be heading towards the quarterback. When you got pass rushers starting to drop back in coverage, I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Their job is to get to the quarterback, not play coverage. There's a reason why they're pass rushers, mostly because they can't catch. So why the hell you got them playing coverage? I have no idea. Like, they're pretty much useless in that position. So yeah, I agree with what your boy Abraham talking right now.
Here on Sunday, you want the Falcons offense to be a lot more explosive. We saw glimpses of that, the 2-minute offense before halftime. They put together some nice drives. What do you think they can do differently Monday Night Football to be successful offensively?
Basically, I think they should just break down that 2-minute and see if we can implement that into the scheme.
Yeah.
Like if I was Raheem out, the first thing I say, we need to do this. Did you see how well we moved the ball at the beginning of the game? You see how well we moved the ball like at the end of the half. This is what our team has to be. Like this is us. This is our characteristics. This is what people are going to see from us on every play, every game during the whole season. So you got to get that criteria by basically just breaking down that part. Just throw away all the bad stuff. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even watch this film. It was my first game. It is what it is. Like, players, we're not going to watch this. We got Philly coming up. We're going to see what we can do against these guys. We're going to lead us from along.
What makes TJ Watt so good?
Being TJ Watt. I mean, we spoke about this earlier. You asked me, and I told you, I said, I think he became himself. Having to look at your brother, JJ, and people comparing to you, like, oh, why you don't play like him? Why you don't do this? Like, as a player, when I became great or when I became better, it was strictly when I started learning how I play, learning how I run, learning how I catch, learning how I do this. And all that came to terms when the older I got and the more confidence I got. And I think he's just been that always probably saying, oh, your brother, your brother, your brother. He said, what can I do? And I think he's showing what he can do personally as a player.
Grady Jarrett now has the most QB hits in the history of the Falcons franchise, passing this guy, John Abraham. How happy are you for Grady?
Man, I think we both were superly excited to see Grady back out there.
Yeah.
Getting the sack, then getting another sack and a half sack. But you missed the first sack, but I really schooled you in on that one. But honestly, it's just good to see him back. Being a guy who has went through injuries, I know how important it is mentally to play the game. The physical part will come, but mentally being able to say that, okay, this is over with. I'm healthy. I can do what I want to do. I can play. And I think the first sack and then the other sack and a half, and just talking to him in the locker room, he seems so confident. Like just speaking to him, and I guarantee you next week he might not have the brace on. I'm just saying, like I know the brace is cool, but just that confidence start going like that, the brace might not even be on.
And the Falcons need a lot more confidence heading into Monday Night Football in Philly at the Link. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere, but they do have a lot to correct heading into that game. For John Abraham, I'm Maria Martin.
All right, so that's your boy John Abraham. I'm kind of with him. I wouldn't even want to watch the tape, and I went back and watched the game again. It ain't something that you want to put on repeat. Let me see. Wallace says, but Mark, the Rams run the same pistol formation offense with Stafford, but they do need to run more play action plays because I think we only ran one play action play. Yeah, they do. We run something similar now. But again, you saw Matthew Stafford under center. They had a lot of movement on that line. So again, you can't play exclusively in that though. You just can't. And that looks like that's what we did. We played exclusively in that. And Kirk isn't really the type. He's never really been the type to play in that, man. So I don't know what the hell the game plan was, but it looked like Kirk didn't look comfortable. Whether that be he ain't healthy or he just wasn't comfortable in that scheme, I don't know. But they gonna have to figure something out. A to the S to the A to the P quickly. So Millie says, but Judon can do both. You mean as far as dropping back in coverage? I'm pretty sure he can. A pass rusher, I don't want him in coverage. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't want a pass rusher in coverage. I want him doing his job. If he gets to the QB, he don't have to get in coverage. But it is what it is. They got to fix this damn offense. Speaking of offense, we're gonna get into our last video. Let me pull this up. And it's the Audible with the usual suspects on there. Shout out to them. Let's go ahead and get into it real quick.
Kirk Cousins feeling since the first time since Matt Ryan in his heyday, Matt Ryan was still really effective, that we felt like, okay, we got a good chance to have some good balance in this game throwing the football. In the first drive, looked like there was some promise, right?
Yeah.
Threw a couple throws, and I was like, we haven't seen one like that in a little while. But Coach Raheem Morris talked about in his post-game press conference, is like when you lose the turnover margin in the National Football League, it's extremely difficult to win games.
Turnover margin and penalties. I think that was the biggest part of this ball game. We could point to the decision making that's going to happen in a ball game. I mean, obviously, you want your quarterback to make better decisions. You want him to throw it to our people, of course. But I think you were hamstrung a lot of the times with penalties. And you just mentioned third down.
Yeah,
biggest part of the ball game. 2 of 9. Think about how many opportunities in the ball game where you have a good run or you have a good catch, and then boom, here comes an illegal formation. Here comes a holding call.
Yeah.
Here comes something that puts you behind the chains. And we're talking about playing.
Now, let me say this. I got a bone to pick about this damn illegal formation because they were calling that like crazy across the league. I think last year they put a stat up. Last year they had called it like 10 times in week 1, and then this year it was like 22 or 23 times. I know the Rams got to account for at least 6 of those illegal formations on Thursday night. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? But teams are just gonna have to adjust to that.
Against a guy wide over there, we're playing against all these guys who can freaking come off the football. And when you're in second and long, third and long, it's hard to be really productive as an offense when you have a defense like they have on the Pittsburgh side. You got to be honest, they were a really good defense, so you can't give them anything. So I thought in this ball game, you hurt yourselves with opportunities that you could have moved the football. You could have had first downs. You could have, done the thing that you needed to do to change field position or change the landscape of the game, but you hurt yourself. So now you're back in 3rd and 10 plus now.
Yeah.
You're 2nd and 12 now instead of, hey, we had a good gain on first down. It was 2nd and 6. Bijan, nice run, gets out 6-7 yards on a run, and now you got to bring it back. So I thought it wasn't advantageous for this offense, and it put a lot of people in a bind. Now, I'll be honest, there are situations in the ball game where I felt as though the receivers should have won. They should have created more separation. And it just felt like there wasn't as much separation throughout the ball game that you would like.
Man, I got to disagree with DJ on this. Third downs are pivotal. But if you got a good offense, you should be able to overcome anything on third down. I saw that all weekend. I saw teams overcome third down like it was nothing. So for us to overcome it twice out of 9 times with these weapons, I'm gonna have to push back on that one right there. You know, some of this play calling was suspect. If you got a guy in the pistol for the majority of the game, I mean, the defense pretty much knows what's up. Ain't no fooling them there. You got to mix it up a little bit. This offense looked terrible. Third downs or not, they look terrible.
Like you mentioned, there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of promise for this offense. But I think game one, everybody wanted to see that come to fruition.
Right.
We talked about it all offseason. We were all excited about it. We were out here watching them in camp. We seen them throwing it around and guys making plays all over the yard. But I still think the fact that you were able to get Bijan Robinson in space, 23 opportunities in this ball game, 18 carries, 5 catches. That's got to be a staple of your offense.
Yep.
One thing I do want to see more of, I want to see more of Tyler Algier. I think he had 3 carries in the ball game. He has to be a bigger part of it. There were times where they both were on the field. You like that and have opportunities. But I think there's chances where if he has a bigger output in the ball game, I think it works out better. Now, of course, the situations of the game didn't dictate as much where you're in longer situations, so you can't hand the ball off as much as you want. But when, you look up and Drake has, 5 targets or Kyle has 3 targets, I think you got to find a way to get those guys the football.
You make 2 great points. I mean, yes, I would agree with Tyler Algier, but I think what you're talking about, their inability to stay on schedule is what affected that. You get more 3rd and 2s and 3rds and 3s, and I think you get more Tyler Algier on the field, maybe both of them at the same time. The other point that I thought you made was great was getting yourselves open. What is the difference, fellas, in guys like Travis Kelce, like Devontae Adams, like Justin Jefferson, like Tyreek Hill? Okay, I understand Tyreek Hill might be different because he's got blazing speed, okay? But these guys, even though every single defense knows where the ball is going to them, they still find a way to get open, right? And I feel like that's probably an area maybe where we need some more growth as well. Like,
one, because they put those guys in motion. All those guys that he named, every single one. Travis Kelce, they put him in motion. Tyreek Hill, they put him in motion. Justin Jefferson, which is a beast, they put him in motion. Even though these guys can get off and get their own, you find them most of the time, they're in motion. Watch these guys play. You'll see Tyreek go in motion and they can't do nothing with it. That's why I'm like, they need to start putting Drake London in motion. You gotta start you gotta start scheming your guys open, especially if they struggle to get open. You gotta figure out ways. The one thing I'll give a guy like Kyle Shanahan major credit for, even though y'all know I can't stand him. He cost us a Super Bowl. One thing I give this man immense credit for, he knows how to scheme his guys open. Not everybody has Tyreek Hill speed. They just ask, how does Travis Kelce get open? Well, Patrick Mahomes talked about some of the stuff that they do. When it's a scramble play, Kelce just knows where the holes are. And maybe our receivers aren't on that level yet. But that's where the coaching comes into play.
Like our receivers, our pass catchers need to find more opportunities to show more color, to get themselves more open, and to make a little bit more high percentage throws. We did see 2 interceptions in this game. Chalk and I talked about this at halftime. If it wasn't for Ray-Ray McCloud and his leaping catch over the middle right before halftime, that could have been a 3rd interception. I thought he saved an interception on that ball that got tipped up in the air. Yeah. But his concentration to go up and get it, and knowing he was probably going to take a hit over the middle of the field, he probably saved another turnover. But still, the turnovers, inability to stay on schedule is going to be tough to operate against that style of defense.
Yeah, 6 of your 9 third down situations were 10+ yards. So that in itself is, especially against that group that likes to rush the passer, is not going to go well for you on the offensive side of the football. This is not one guy either. When you start thinking about, yeah, Kirk had a couple of turnovers, but there were, you got to protect better. You got to be able to not commit the penalties that you're talking, hands to the face, holding. Now I'm still looking for the
Yeah, I
holding
agree
call
with
on
that.
Lindstrom.
I agree with that, Mill. Motioning helps. Because even if you watch the Rams game, dude, Cooper Kupp was coming off. He was coming off the line open in a lot of these plays. But putting a guy in motion shows you what the defense is showing. If they're playing man, if they're playing, if they're playing a cover, they're playing zone. Usually if they're blitzing, they're showing somewhere. They're showing somewhere. But we'll be better Monday, man. We'll be better. I just these are just some things I'm throwing out. Like, this is how you can make the offense, more explosive, because Darnell Mooney does have speed. So is it a matter of them not getting open, or are we scheming these guys open? But again, putting your quarterback in a pistol for the majority of the snaps, that ain't helping. That ain't helping matters either. You know what I mean? So, like, it's making it easier for the defense. But yeah, let's keep going.
So I looked at the tape 3 different times. I can't find it.
I saw it
So-
too, Arch. I was like, there's no holding right there. You might have called the wrong number.
Yeah,
but
I just
Todd
don't
said
know
these
where
guys
the
on the
hold
field.
was on Lindstrom or
Yeah, one on
whoever else
McGarry,
they
the
called.
one
They had,
where he just
yeah.
literally pushed the guy.
Well, they called it
on.
on McGarry, but it was supposed to be on Lindstrom. Ultimately, they changed it to Lindstrom, but I didn't see it on Lindstrom either. So I'm not sure where the holding call came, but it got called. It was an untimely penalty,
Yep.
and it put you behind the chains. The opening drive, you move the ball down the field. You show a lot of different packages, a lot of different guys in the game, and you get a negative play. Caleb McGarry overreaches on the stretch play. TJ Watt knifes inside, tackles Bijan Robinson for a 3-yard loss. Now you're behind the chains, and now you're behind the chains in that tight area down in the red zone, and things shrink down there to where you don't have a lot of room. The play on 3rd down is going to be a touchdown, but the young linebacker makes a play and makes a tackle, and that's something that stuck out to me. I don't know that I've seen a better tackling performance by a defense than Pittsburgh's tackling performance. We didn't break any tackles in the game.
especially in week 1, Arch.
Yeah,
That's when you're supposed to miss tackles.
Yeah, it
right?
was
early in the season.
Yeah, exactly. It was phenomenal. I thought there was as good a tackling performance by a defense as I've seen. I would echo the fact of separation from receivers, and that's about being sharp on your routes, and especially in this game when you wanted to use quick game. I've got to be really sharp. If I'm running a slant route, I've got to make the guy think I'm breaking out. I got to make the guy think I'm going to run by him, and then that top of the route's got to be a sharp break. I can't roll into the route, which creates the window for a defender to get in and knock the ball away. Those are some of the things that can help Kirk and clear up things for Kirk so the ball can come out on time. I never thought he looked comfortable in the game. I thought that Pittsburgh was a major contributor to that because they got around him. And I can tell you, when you're in the pocket, when you're in the pocket and it shrinks down to where you don't feel like you can get your arm in the play. You talked about Ray McLeod. His arm gets hit and the ball flutters out. Ray makes a great play on the ball. And that was the play that maybe it spurred that drive to go down and throw the touchdown to Kyle Pitts there. But there were a lot of things that went on in the game. Now, the biggest thing that I'm sure the fans listening out there is saying, can we clean it up?
Yeah.
Can it be better? I think Kirk will be better because I think there's in all honesty, I think there was some rustiness. I think that there's no question. He hadn't played, since the mid of the season last year. He hadn't thrown double-digit interceptions since week 2 of 2022.
Yeah.
That was the last time he threw 2 interceptions in the same game.
Yeah.
This is still a good player. He's going to be a good player. He'll be better this week. But the people around him, sharp routes, block people, make people miss, break tackles. Those are the kind of things you need to get done. We saw Pittsburgh do some of that. We saw a big play by George Pickens, a couple of those plays. We saw the opportunity, Najee Harris. How many tackles did he break in the run game?
Guy runs hard.
So there's some things there. And there's also some things you're going to have to do from a game plan standpoint.
You know who they should have had in there to break tackles? Tyler Algier. He had 6 yards to carry. That's who you put in to break tackles. Again, I'm not disagreeing with anything that they're saying at this point. But when you talk about breaking tackles, you got to have the right guys in there to do that. Tyler Algier, that's all he does. He runs hard. He runs through the line, and he breaks tackles. As far as routes go, again, week 1, man, definitely think Kirk will be a lot better come Monday night, especially with the lights on him. Last time he had the lights on him like this, it's when he played San Francisco, and he was lights out in that game. So, again, man, I just think everything that could go wrong went wrong in this game offensively. Everything that could go wrong. You had the turnovers. You had the line breaking down. You had one guy completely annihilating Caleb McGarry. You had a guy coming back from injury. Then, mind you, let's not forget Kyle Pitts is supposedly dealing with something. So everything that could go wrong went wrong Sunday. And it resulted in 10 points at the house.
To help with protection. And I would be surprised if you don't see him move Kirk a little bit more, maybe change his launch point so they can't tee off and get after him. So there's a lot of things that can happen from coaching staff to players that'll make this offensive unit much better on Monday night.
Yeah, so a lot of improvement needed to be made between week 1 and week 2. Guys, going into the game, I don't know about you.
Sorry, I think that's where they're talking about something else after that. So we'll just let that go. But yeah, so echoing what they said, man, a lot of things can get better. And I think they will. If they don't, I do not believe in coincidence. If this offense comes out and does the same thing Monday night, we got an issue. We got a major issue. One time, okay, this y'all preseason game. A second time? No, something is not right there. Ray, what's going on? Ray says, I feel like we should take week 1 with a grain of salt. A lot of this is overreaction. You could be right. However, again, 10 points. 10 points. That's unacceptable. Period. At home against this team. That's unacceptable. I don't think that's an overreaction. That's unacceptable. This team has to play better than what they played like week 1. Now, I will say, hold on, let me go here real quick. I will say we're not the only team or the only fan base that feels this way. Because if y'all know, Cleveland right now is regretting giving Deshaun Watson all that money guaranteed. They got they ice kicked Sunday. They got beat down. Deshaun Watson did not look great. He didn't really look good. And this is his second year being there. They're about to get bent over after this season. And remember, he was out last season. They ended up in the playoffs with a quarterback that was going to sleep on the sideline. Joe Flacco, aka Hurt Plus. So there are plenty of teams. Look at Cincy. I think the fan bases that lost, there are a few fan bases right now that aren't really stressing. Baltimore is probably one of them. Baltimore is probably one of them where they're like, hey, you know what? We lost week 1. We lost on the road to the defending champs. And we almost tied that thing up at the end. With Derrick Henry being a non-factor, the Rams probably ain't stressing. There might be a tiny panic, just a tiny, with the Jets. Panthers aren't even in panic mode. Panthers never left that. You talking about we off the porch. Panthers never got out the bed. There isn't even panic mode in Carolina. They know they ain't going nowhere. But yeah, some of these fan bases are looking at this like, man, this ain't what I thought it was gonna be, bruh. Titans, after they wet the bed, let Chicago come back. Is week 1 a time to throw in the towel? No, of course not. It's one game. But like I said Sunday, we need to see this offense come to the game. If we go up to Philly, we lose 31-35. I ain't even sweating it. Because I'm like, okay, offense showed up. This is what everybody was expecting to see week 1. Okay, gotcha. We can build off this. That offense put up 10 points or less Monday. Yeah. Not an overreaction. We got to reconvene about this, though. Because something ain't right with the offense if they give you another 10-piece. That's all I'm saying. Y'all know I'm going to stand on this logo regardless, though. I'm going to stand on it regardless. Because that's what we do. You know, Kirk had a bad game. He knows he had a bad game. Offense had a bad game. This should motivate them. Okay, you know what? I'll be damned if we put up 10 Monday. Kirk should be licking his chops. Primetime game? Oh, y'all saw what I did last year in the primetime game. Y'all saw how I cooked. He should be able, at the end of the game, he should be able to run towards the camera and say, you like that. So I'm not down on the team because they lost. We should have won the game. Should have beat this team. But it is what it is. We move on. We get this win Monday. Different story. And it's over a quality team. But we got to play a lot better on offense, man. Defensively, you know, Raheem said something about the defense giving the offense more opportunities. I disagree. I agree with that, and I disagree with that. The defense wasn't the reason your offense lost. Your offense was turning over the ball, not defense. Your offense got stymied in the second half, not your defense. And the defense gonna have their hands full Monday night. So your offense gotta show up. And I believe we will. I believe we'll show up. I think we're going to get this game. I think we're going to get it. So with that being said and done, fam, Millie said it was written all over Kurt face Sunday. I fucked up. They got to help him out, man. They got to help him out. There needs to be at least two different game plans. For me, Algier, Bijan being in there at the same time would help him immensely. We know what TA brings to this table, man. We know what he brings to the team. 3 touches? This man need a series. Listen, man, I'm a fan of Chocolate McCaffrey. I'm a fan of it. TA need a series. And to me, it need to be the first one. We need to establish the aggression in the first series. We know TA gonna run like a truck. But I think we got this. Ray says, great show, Mark. Really appreciate what you do, bro. You know I've been down with you since 2016. And I was in by, oh man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I know you've been down like 4 flat tires, man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get out of here. This was the pre-cook. We coming back with the cook up on Friday, man. So we gonna go over the game Monday. You know, the beautiful thing about Sunday is I don't have to stress. I can watch Sunday football in peace. You know, Falcons still stressing me out now, you know, but this Sunday I can kind of watch with like, and then Monday, if everything goes off the rails Monday, I'm gonna do my damn video. I'm gonna walk around the block and I'm going to sleep. C Double, what's up, man? I'm gonna get with you, C Double. I saw the email. I'm gonna get with you, fam. Maddie says we underestimate Algier. Feed him the ball. Yes, I would honestly. I'm being dead serious. The first series, I'm running him. And to be honest, the first series I put him and Bijan in. The whole first series. I gotta establish dominance in the run game. And then we get in the red zone, anything goes. Hit him over the top with a screen to Bijan. Bang, touchdown. Drake London on a fade route. Bang, touchdown. Mooney on a slant. Bang, touchdown. But you got to make this team feel you, man. This is why I'm like family, it's not hard to call plays for this team. I think Zach might be overthinking this shit. Get your playmakers the ball. Get them the ball. Let them work. Kurt had a bad first game. I don't think that's happening again. Kirk's one of them type of players. He takes these games personal, fam. So I think when the light's on him, this boy gonna show out. But you got to get your playmakers the ball. But anyway, man, we'll be back Friday night, 11 o'clock for the cook up, man. So with that being said and done, you guys have a great, what time is it? A great night, morning, whatever the hell you want to call this. To anybody that watches this later on, hey man, appreciate you rocking with your boy. And that's pretty much it. So I'm out, man. Peace.